Okay, is it starting? Okay, hi guys. So I'm Monica. So first off, I want to congratulate you for being in Energy Club 2018. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, for me it has been an amazing year, and Energy Club definitely contributed to it. And sorry I can't be there. As you know, I'm in Sweden now, and it was kind of impossible for me to be there. Um, So this is a presentation to talk about my role and what I did as an internal commissioner. I will just make a presentation for you, and I will tell you what I did. And you probably have heard a lot about the fact that we did have roles, but actually we were doing a lot of things that we basically just like. So the best thing about Energy Club that it's basically you have so much freedom that you can just do whatever you really like. So then, yeah, I will just present to you what I did and what was interesting for me. And if you like it or if you would like to know more, then of course you can always contact me. Um, reachable, so there should not be a problem. Okay, I'm actually doing it first time, so I'm sorry if there are some like bumps and stuff. Um, okay, this one. So I think now you can see the yeah my PowerPoint presentation. Oh, okay, this looks really awful. Okay, if I do this, is it gonna work? Shit. Or maybe not. Oh, okay. Okay, let's just like this. Okay. So the main, so why I actually chose, or there was no like a role of internal commissioner before. So it's kind of invented from this year, but there was also the name like this like 2 years ago or like 3 years ago. In general, my idea was that because I actually not studying anything related to renewable energies, I'm actually COSM in the specialization transport logistics. But in general, I'm quite interested in renewable energies, and I think it's a really interesting topic. And I actually got like the first interest was from smart grid technologies, and from there on, I started reading more, and then I thought that it's actually really quite something really interesting, and that everyone should really know these topics. And I think it can be interesting for everyone, and you don't need to study this to be knowledgeable. And especially that actually, yeah, these type of issues, like climate change or yeah, sustainable energies, are quite important for everyone. Internal commissioner is to kind of try to um, reach a lot of students in TU Delft. So for me, I really was trying to focus on students and then organize events in TU Delft. So, and as you know, there are quite a lot of organizations within TU Delft. Um, like for example, Delft CA, Green Village, Green Office. So it's actually quite a lot of things happening. So in general, there are quite a lot of energy-related events, not only by the green organizations. So it's quite nice to kind of have this, maintain this contact, and know what's happening within TU Delft. And the second kind of responsibility was to professors as well in TU Delft, especially the ones that are already having some like courses related to energy, for example, in SET or in TPM. So this is the responsibility of internal commissioner, and took the responsibilities for PR, but Dhruv was also doing that, and basically everyone was contributing to it. But as a let's say a formal role, that is managing social media, of course. So we have Facebook, which is most often used. We have Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Twitter we didn't really use. I actually have no, I don't think we did. LinkedIn we opened this year, but we didn't really manage to. to do it because we could barely manage Facebook. So LinkedIn was a bit too much, I guess. But I think it's quite good. I think you should develop it better, especially for companies, especially in Netherlands, because that's where people go to. Also, what is useful is to set up calendar for posts. So good if it's a bit more, I would say, regular. So not just having 5 posts in one day and then suddenly silent for another week or something. You can schedule posts. It's good to do it a few times a week. Also, variety of different posts as well. Um, oh, this was supposed to be make Facebook events, actually. So you can do Facebook events, but we also realized that maybe it's a little bit easier, smoother if the actual event creation is done by the person that organized the event. Because it's a bit of like, okay, can you make this event, which is actually very easy to do. The only thing that as a PR responsible is that to actually share the post of the Facebook event, because usually if you create an event, then it's not visible, but you have to share it to make it visible. So this is what you can do. Yeah, also you should advertise events on different groups. So you have internationals in TU Delft, you have different study association groups, and all that. So you have to just spam. We try to open a person account for Facebook, but it's quite difficult because if you are not a person, but you have a page, then you cannot friends, or you have to like use your own private Facebook account. And I tried to do it for Energy Club, but it always denied because you have to be a real new person. So even if you write like Energy Club, or even if you write like your name Energy Club or your name something, it's still, Facebook would still kind of deny it. So maybe you can find some ways. Otherwise, you have to use your own private account. Um, Also, it's good if you are really interested in it, you can develop some social media strategies. So, for example, yeah, when to schedule posts or how they should be scheduled, or for example, what type of, if you want to do, you can also create some kind of countdowns post. For example, there's like 10 days left to do something, and you can put some images. You can do some, for example, contests that if people, let's say, share this Facebook event, and then they can go for free somewhere, or they can get a pass somewhere. Also those things. I mean, you all know it. You all probably have Facebook. And also, I think it should be a part of PR to make design materials, which is also important because it should be consistent. This should be done by one person or two people if they have a template. Yeah, so this is what you should do. Okay, I hope this. The next, oh my God. Okay, the next one is the actual responsibilities. Of course, I think me personally, I was quite interested more in events, but we realized that events is a term for the role because actually all of us organize events. But you can also be more focused, let's say, on projects or maintaining organizations. And for me, in the end, I think I really prefer just organizing events. So my actual responsibilities were, yeah, everything above. I also was contacting, making like the first contact to a lot of companies. So just looking at, just Googling different organizations, reading about their websites, what do they do, what's interesting about them, and then emailing them. Of course, every email should be adapted to what they do and like what sort of things you would like to do with them. Uh, yeah, so I would contact them to ask whether they would like to do like some in-house days, or would like excursions, whether they can host us, or maybe they can make presentations or whatever. So lots of different opportunities. Um, yeah, you can also try to find some organizations that are similar to Energy Club. For example, Energy Academy Europe in Groningen. They organize a lot of events, so you can also check out their website, and they and find some inspiration, because they do pretty much similar things to what we do. So they have also a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. The only thing is that it's just started up, so the contact is a little bit slow. So we organize event with them and it worked out fine. So yeah, of course, if there are like different meetings, for example, with Delft CA or with Green Village, then you go to the meetings with them. So that's also you have to set up meetings and things like that. I was also attending a lot of different events, just like all of us. But yeah, just because you are, let's say, not involved directly to organizing like meet the energy leaders, doesn't mean you. It's all very interesting. And yeah, of course, doing the logistics for events, but that's what everyone was doing. You need to remember when you organize event is to book the lecture rooms in advance, organize catering or drinks, prepare materials. So yeah, do some shopping and buy all the stuff. Yeah, I was also responsible for creating the promotion materials. So the Facebook banners, the net presenters or TV slides, posters, flyers. I think there are still lots of flyers left, and the Facebook posts. Also, we had some goodie materials. We didn't do as many as the previous boards, but we had pens. We were supposed to do bags as well, but I think it didn't really work out. But it all depends on the budget of how much you want to put in that. We'll go for pens and mugs for the energy leaders. Yeah, and then later on, I was also putting some posts on Instagram, posts on Facebook. So that's what I was doing. Here are some tips that I have. There are more tips in the document, but these one I think are the most important, and you probably will hear from others as well. But this is for me, which is like I found really important. So um, is that to start really early, because usually however you plan, it always takes a lot more time. Also, like sometimes you don't know how long you would have to take for response. Sometimes you would get busy. There might be some miscommunications, everything. So usually it can take 2 to 3 months for just like one day event. Um, some unexpected date changes and so what always start early. And it's good that you make the event published on social media, on website, at least 1 month in advance, so you allow the time for promotion and all that. Also, students, they, especially in Netherlands, they always have their calendars filled up, so it's good to start early. And of course, like I usually send a lot of emails, but if it doesn't work, then call. You can use the phone in the EC office. And yeah, I think it really depends how it works. For me, I didn't always like calling, but if it was necessary, of course I would do. um Next one, if you work on your event, I think it's the best if you actually work on your own from the beginning to the end. So let's say not to do half of the things, for example, me, and the other half the other board member, because it's a bit like the communication itself can be a little bit problematic. But for example, I did need a lot of advice or help, or like how to proceed with things, then just bringing up during the meeting. And it's very important that you would ask for advice and be just transparent about what you do, and like where you are in the process of the contact. um and then the next thing is also like going for things that actually are really that really interest you, because then you really have a lot more motivation to actually do it. So for example, for me, I actually really like a lot of role playing or like games kind of events. Usually where you have a game where you are, for example, an energy provider or a consumer, and you have to interact with each other. Then you kind of learn how this whole system work. And so I was contacting companies related to that. I also wanted to organize it by myself, and even though it took quite a lot of time, I still found it quite interesting because I like to do it myself. Um, so it's always better. Of course, put a bit of variety, because if we all like the same thing, then it's good to like do things that you might not find in the first place interesting, but maybe later on will be quite nice. Um, yeah, it's a bit like logistical things, like booking rooms and things like that. It also goes with the thing that you have to do in advance. Sometimes even if you call like 2 months in advance, it might be booked, especially if you want to do something in Ola. That's like for sure a few months before you have to do this. Okay, next. Um, Collaboration with other organizations. If you are the a commissioner or relations commissioner, I mean, either external or internal. They, of course, in general, they are good, but you have to be quite sensible about who you are doing with. You don't always have to go for it, because sometimes it can take a lot of time to organize a meeting and then to do this and that, and then it just takes even more time than you think. But I think it's of course always nice, and you can always learn a lot from other organizations. Um, Events, talk with participants, be social, ask for feedback, ask for what they do, what they want and what they expect. Um, yeah, it's I think it's always very useful, because then people would come for more events because it's just fun. Yes, remember to take a lot of pictures and post them on social media. We're not so good at it, so I hope there will be someone who will always be like taking pictures and stuff. Um, Also about that, don't get disappointed if you organize event for, let's say, 20 people and then maybe 10 people show up, because people would not always show up even if they confirm. So you should always add a bit of margin and not be too optimistic. Um, because yeah, especially that if the event is for free, then and there are so many events on Theodel that you can just sign up and yeah. So that also goes with the next point, which is about the price of the tickets. So of course the part would be subsidized because yeah, we have money, but there should be always some sort of fee, and you always have to kind of yeah, not do like a market analysis, but kind of be sensitive about the price. Yeah, so people would, so it kind of encourage them to show up. What were our strategies for people to come is to, for example, open the sign up form a little bit after the event was created. So you promote the event and then allow some time, and then they sign up. Fill out the Google form with some questions related to this. It just adds effort. And if you really want to attend the event, you would do this Google form. Um, or set some kind of ticket fee, send email reminders, and so on. Confirm, or if they cannot, maybe find someone else or whatever. I also think that after every event, it's good to send the evaluation forms, because then you know what went good and what went wrong, and you can always improve. And I also think that during the meetings, every event should be evaluated. It's always the most, let's say, mundane part about any project or whatever. It's just like, you have it done, so okay, let's work on the next one. But I think it's quite useful to spend some time on also evaluating each other, how you perform during the event, and how you can be better, because then more people would join, the quality is improving and all that. um, okay, so I think these are the most important, but I have also some other points in it's all written down. um, okay, and then the last point is opportunities. So in terms of the International Relations Commissioner, Yeah, I think we are going to a little bit more structured way of having this collaboration. So we have the MO with Delft CA, and we are working now on another one. But because of that, it's maybe better to have a little bit more more closer contact with them. Because if you have it in your contract that, let's say, you have to have one event, and at least you have this goal that, okay, we should work on something. Um, the other thing is that it would be useful to contact study associations. In general, they are not very willing to collaborate, but you can always try to organize them together, or let's say see what type of events the students like. Because I think in general, almost every student is a part of the study association. They are there at the faculties, they have newsletters, and uh, they know the people. So I think it would be quite useful to look at this part. Um, I started to contact the Green Village about organizing a kind of presentation projects that are happening in Green Village, and I already contacted the companies. I have contact. I have um, three. So the idea is that the companies would present their idea or their innovation, and then they can show around their innovation. And they either have a lab there, or they have a prototype or whatever. So then after the presentation, there can be a small tour. And the only thing is that to set a date, and maybe to organize some logistics, like if it's during the lunch, then maybe organize some food or something. And then that would be set with Serge from Green Village. So if you guys want to do this, I think it's a quite easy event, and you can. It's almost everything is almost set up. You just have to continue it. We wanted to do it in December, but it's kind of difficult to contact Serge. I guess it's because they are quite in a very busy period. But yeah, contact me if you want to know more details about it. Now I will put this on hold. Yeah, the other opportunity is to develop LinkedIn. So we started it, but yeah, none of us really had like really interest to maintain it. You can always do vlogs. That was kind of my idea, which was just kind of buried under the ground, because it's be professional. It has to be well executed, but it could be good because, as you can see, vlogs are quite popular now, and it kind of works for a lot of people. And maybe if you are really good at it, you can try it out. Um, Also, the other opportunity was changing the game. It was also supposed to be in June, but we canceled it. It's basically it's a game where you use Lego blocks, and you have different playing cards, and you have to reach some sustainable goals. You have all the manuals. You can do it yourself. It's not too expensive, and I think it's quite fun that you can actually organize a game from the scratch, because normally companies do this, but they are quite expensive. Usually it's like a 50 euro per person. So yeah, it's quite insane. Also, there is a possibility to visit a wind farm in the north of Netherlands, and we wanted to couple it with the Energy Academy Europe, but it was already booked, and the guy said that it's always better to just call him on phone rather than fill out the form. So it's if you organize an excursion, it's better to couple it because it's quite far. It's like 3 hours away. Um, okay. So let's come back to me. Hello. Okay. So I think that's all about the role of internal commissioner and PR, and in general what I think in Energy Club for the past year. And yeah, if you have any questions or whatever, I think it's the easiest if you just ask us, because we and especially all the logistics, like some things you just have to do. But yeah, this is all. I have one more video no, I have two more videos about the graphics, so design materials, and also about some structure and organizational things. All right, enjoy your weekend.